Welcome to Dreamer. And welcome to the sleepy blanket where every night becomes softer, calmer, and a little more magical. Asterisk, the lighthouse of gentle light. Asterisk, far out along a peaceful shore where the ocean meets the sky in a soft watercolor. Blur, there stood a little round lighthouse. It wasn't tall and intimidating like the serious lighthouses you might see in busy harbors. This one was smaller, softer, and almost cartoon-like in shape, as if it had been drawn with a friendly pencil and colored in with pastel crayons. Its red roof was round and cheerful, like a little hat. The white bricks that formed its curved tower were smooth and warm-looking, never harsh or cold. And every evening when the sun began to drift downward and the sky turned a dreamy shade of lavender blue, a faint golden glow blossomed from the lamp at the very top. This lighthouse did not shine brightly to cut through storms. No, this one believed in gentle glow, the kind of light that calms you more than it startles you. The kind of glow that feels like a bedtime hug. Inside this cozy lighthouse lived Luna. Luna was not like loud, busy people who rushed everywhere and filled their days with noise. She was quiet, soft, cartoon gentle. Her expression always seemed just a little sleepy, like she lived permanently halfway into a dream. She had round, calm eyes that sparkled like stars floating in deep blue tea. Her hair was the color of twilight clouds, and it curled just slightly at the ends. Soft and fluffy, like everything else in her world. Every evening, Luna slipped into her favorite soft blue sweater, the one dotted with tiny stitched stars that shimmered faintly in lantern light. She also wore the coziest slippers known to any cartoon world, puffy and round, with small white moons embroidered on top. They made absolutely no sound when she walked, which she loved, because silence was one of Luna's favorite sounds. And wherever Luna went, Milo followed. Milo was her cat, though calling him a cat almost didn't capture how wonderfully calm he was. Milo was like a floating cloud, disguised as a sleepy cartoon cat. His fur was fluffy and rounded, a gentle blend of cream and pale silver, like the softest parts of the moon. His eyes were large and deeply kind. And when he purred, it never vibrated loudly. Instead, it hummed softly, like a distant lullaby. The kind of soothing sound that quietly unknots every worry hiding inside your chest. On this particular evening, the world outside the lighthouse was wrapped in calm. The sky had melted into velvety night, and stars shimmered peacefully, as if someone had gently sprinkled sugar crystals across the darkness. The ocean below breathed in slow rhythm. The waves didn't crash or roar. They sighed, in and out, like the world itself was resting. The shoreline shimmered with faint reflections of moonlight, while fair of clouds drifted lazily across the night sky, like giant comfortable pillows. Inside the lighthouse, the air was warm and still. The scent of honey milk and chamomile hung in the cozy circular room. A little pot simmered quietly on the tiny pastel blue stove. Lanterns glowed with soft golden halos along the walls. Everything curved, everything gentle, everything safe. Luna stood by the round window, her fingertips lightly resting on the windowsill as she gazed out at the ocean. She didn't stare with intense focus. She simply looked, the way someone gazes at a peaceful campfire or drifting snow, not to analyze, not to think, just to be. The waves rolled in, paused, and rolled back out again, and Luna breathed with them, in and out. Her chest rose softly. Her shoulders loosened. Her jaw relaxed. The breathing happened all on its own, slow and dreamy. Behind her, Milo stretched with a little cartoon wiggle, back arched like a fluffy hill, and then curled himself into a perfect, rounded bundle. His tail wrapped sweetly over his nose, and he blinked slowly, like each blink took its time to feel cozy before opening again. Luna turned and smiled. "Well," she whispered softly, because even her whisper sounded like bedtime. "I think tonight is going to be a very calm night," Milo replied with a soft, lazy purr. There were nights in other places, full of traffic and screens and chattering voices. But not here. Here, nightfall meant stillness, safety, warmth, a quiet invitation to rest, where nothing important needed to happen and nothing demanded to be solved. Luna padded softly toward the tiny stove where her stew, Honeymilk, had finished warming. She picked up the small seashell-patterned kettle by its curved handle and poured the silky golden drink into a wide ceramic mug. The mug was round and sweet, almost smiling in shape, painted with little constellations that seemed to twinkle faintly in lamplight. Steam curled gently upward like slow-moving dream ribbons, twisting and swaying lazily before fading into invisible softness. Luna wrapped both hands around the mug. Warmth seeped slowly into her palms, into her fingers, into her wrists. Like the glow of embers under soft snow. She lifted it and took a tiny sip. The taste was smooth and sweet, like a cuddle turned into a drink. Her breathing slowed even more. There was no rush to finish, no schedule, no clock ticking. Just the warm mug, the soft lantern light, and the dream-soft world outside. Milo hopped gently onto the wide, circular windowsill, which had been cushioned with a fluffy pale blue pad just for him. He kneaded the cushion with his small paws in slow rhythmic movements. Knead, pause, knead, and then settled into a loaf shape, purring quietly. Luna joined him at the window, and together they watched the night. Soft ocean, soft moon, soft hearts. The lighthouse lamp above them glowed, not in a sharp beam, but in a gentle halo. Like a sleepy star who didn't want to wake anyone up. Luna rested her forehead lightly against the cool window glass. The night whispered back to her, "You are safe here." She didn't hear it as words. She felt it the way you feel comfort when someone wraps a blanket around your shoulders, and her whole body softened. Her eyelids grew heavier. Her thoughts didn't stop. They simply drifted, like feathers lazily floating downward. Thoughts about the day. Thoughts about tomorrow. All of them softened and dissolved, like sugar melting into warm tea. She watched the waves for a little longer. Each one took its time. No wave hurried through one behind it. There was room for everything to flow gently. She liked that. Luna finished her Honeymilk and set the mug quietly on the little wooden table. She could feel the cozy weight of sleepy calm settling inside her. Not drowsy in a foggy way, but peacefully tired. Like every part of her was being tucked in. She placed a soft hand on Milo's back. His purr deepened slow, steady, like the rhythm of rest itself. She stroked him gently, feeling the calm pass through her fingertips, traveling up her arm like a warm whisper. "Shall we get ready for bed?" she murmured. Milo blinked in agreement, and so they did, but in the slowest, kindest way. There was no rushing, no hurry, finish, move on. Only softness. Welcome to Dreamer. And welcome to the sleepy blanket where every night becomes softer, calmer, and a little more magical. Asterisk, the lighthouse of gentle light. Asterisk, far out along a peaceful shore where the ocean meets the sky in a soft watercolor blur, there stood a little round lighthouse. It wasn't tall and intimidating like the serious lighthouses you might see in busy harbors. This one was smaller, softer, and almost cartoon-like in shape, as if it had been drawn with a friendly pencil and colored in with pastel crayons. Its red roof was round and cheerful, like a little hat. The white bricks that formed its curved tower were smooth and warm-looking, never harsh or cold. And every evening when the sun began to drift downward and the sky turned a dreamy shade of lavender blue, a faint golden glow blossomed from the lamp at the very top. This lighthouse did not shine brightly to cut through storms. No, this one believed in gentle glow, the kind of light that calms you more than it startles you. The kind of glow that feels like a bedtime hug. Inside this cozy lighthouse lived Luna. Luna was not like loud, busy people who rushed everywhere and filled their days with noise. She was quiet, soft, cartoon gentle. Her expression always seemed just a little sleepy, like she lived permanently halfway into a dream. She had round, calm eyes that sparkled like stars floating in deep blue tea. Her hair was the color of twilight clouds, and it curled just slightly at the ends. Soft and fluffy, like everything else in her world. Every evening, Luna slipped into her favorite soft blue sweater, the one dotted with tiny stitched stars that shimmered faintly in lantern light. She also wore the coziest slippers known to any cartoon world, puffy and round, with small white moons embroidered on top. They made absolutely no sound when she walked, which she loved, because silence was one of Luna's favorite sounds, and wherever Luna went, Milo followed. Milo was her cat, though calling him a cat almost didn't capture how wonderfully calm he was. Milo was like a floating cloud, disguised as a sleepy cartoon cat. His fur was fluffy and rounded, a gentle blend of cream and pale silver, like the softest parts of the moon. His eyes were large and deeply kind. And when he purred, it never vibrated loudly. Instead, it hummed softly, like a distant lullaby. The kind of soothing sound that quietly unknots every worry hiding inside your chest. On this particular evening, the world outside the lighthouse was wrapped in calm. The sky had melted into velvety night, and stars shimmered peacefully, as if someone had gently sprinkled sugar crystals across the darkness. The ocean below breathed in slow rhythm. The waves didn't crash or roar. They sighed, in and out, like the world itself was resting. The shoreline shimmered with faint reflections of moonlight, while fair of clouds drifted lazily across the night sky, like giant comfortable pillows. Inside the lighthouse, the air was warm and still. The scent of honey milk and chamomile hung in the cozy circular room. A little pot simmered quietly on the tiny pastel blue stove. Lanterns glowed with soft golden halos along the walls. Everything curved, everything gentle, everything safe. Luna stood by the round window, her fingertips lightly resting on the windowsill as she gazed out at the ocean. She didn't stare with intense focus. She simply looked. The way someone gazes at a peaceful campfire or drifting snow, not to analyze, not to think, just to be. The waves rolled in, paused, and rolled back out again, and Luna breathed with them, in and out. Her chest rose softly, her shoulders loosened, her jaw relaxed. The breathing happened all on its own, slow and dreamy. Behind her, Milo stretched with a little cartoon wiggle, back arched like a fluffy hill, and then curled himself into a perfect, rounded bundle. His tail wrapped sweetly over his nose, and he blinked slowly, like each blink took its time to feel cozy before opening again. Luna turned and smiled. Well, she whispered softly, because even her whisper sounded like bedtime. I think tonight is going to be a very calm night. Milo replied with a soft, lazy purr. There were nights in other places, full of traffic and screens and chattering voices. But not here. Here, nightfall meant stillness, safety, warmth, a quiet invitation to rest. Where nothing important needed to happen, and nothing demanded to be solved, Luna padded softly toward the tiny stove where her honeymilk, had finished warming. She picked up the small seashell-patterned kettle by its curved handle, and poured the silky golden drink into a wide ceramic mug. The mug was round and sweet, almost smiling in shape, painted with little constellations that seemed to twinkle faintly in lamplight. Steam curled gently upward like slow-moving dream ribbons, twisting and swaying lazily before fading into invisible softness. Luna wrapped both hands around the mug. Warmth seeped slowly into her palms, into her fingers, into her wrists. Like the glow of embers under soft snow. She lifted it and took a tiny sip. The taste was smooth and sweet, like a cuddle turned into a drink. Her breathing slowed even more. There was no rush to finish, no schedule, no clock ticking. Just the warm mug, the soft lantern light, and the dream-soft world outside. Milo hopped gently onto the wide, circular windowsill, which had been cushioned with a fluffy pale blue pad just for him. He kneaded the cushion with his small paws in slow rhythmic movements. Knead, pause, knead, and then settled into a loaf shape, purring quietly. Luna joined him at the window, and together they watched the night. Soft ocean, soft moon, soft hearts. The lighthouse lamp above them glowed, not in a sharp beam, but in a gentle halo. Like a sleepy star who didn't want to wake anyone up. Luna rested her forehead lightly against the cool window glass. The night whispered back to her, "You are safe here." She didn't hear it as words. She felt it the way you feel comfort when someone wraps a blanket around your shoulders, and her whole body softened. Her eyelids grew heavier. Her thoughts didn't stop. They simply drifted, like feathers lazily floating downward. Thoughts about the day. Thoughts about tomorrow. All of them softened and dissolved, like sugar melting into warm tea. She watched the waves for a little longer. Each one took its time. No wave hurried through. One behind it, there was room for everything to flow gently. She liked that. Luna finished her honey milk and set the mug quietly on the little wooden table. She could feel the cozy weight of sleepy calm settling inside her. Not drowsy in a foggy way, but peacefully tired. Like every part of her was being tucked in. She placed a soft hand on Milo's back. His purr deepened slow, steady, like the rhythm of rest itself. She stroked him gently, feeling the calm pass through her fingertips, traveling up her arm like a warm whisper. "Shall we get ready for bed?" she murmured. Milo blinked in agreement, and so they did, but in the slowest, kindest way. There was no rushing, no hurry, finish, move on. Only softness. The slow journey through the night. The lighthouse slept. From the outside, it looked like a gentle painting hung in the middle of the night. A small round tower on a soft hill. A thin golden ring of light glowing quietly from the lantern at the top, and the ocean breathing in long, deep sighs at its feet. The stars watched from above, not sharply, but with a soft glimmer, like half-closed eyes that were almost ready to drift off again. Inside, Luna dreamed it was the calmest kind of dream, the type that feels less like a story and more like slowly floating in warm water where nothing is rushed and nothing surprises you. Just softness. Just quiet. In her dream, Luna found herself standing in the main room of the lighthouse again, but everything looked just a little more magical. The pastel colors were deeper and gentler. The lantern light had a tiny bit of shimmer, as if sleepy. Stars were dissolved in the air. Even Milo's fur glowed with the faintest hint of moonlight, as if he'd been dusted with stardust. Luna looked down at herself and smiled. She was still in her soft blue sweater. The little stitched stars on the fabric now twinkling faintly, slowly, like patient fireflies. Her slippers were still on her feet, round and plump, making no sound at all on the wooden floor. It felt like the same lighthouse, but also like the dream version of it, a cartoon soft copy, quieter, slower, even safer. Milo sat beside her feet, his round cartoon eyes blinking calmly. His whiskers curved cheerfully, and his tail drew a lazy circle on the floor as he purred. The room was exactly as it was before Luna fell asleep, small, round, and cozy. There was the little stove tucked into the curved wall. The shelves lined with rounded jars of arbs and soft-colored cups. The cushioned window seat with its gentle view of the sea, yet everything had a dreamy haze, like a watercolor painting. With softened edges, Luna took a breath. Not a big breath. Just a simple one, in and out. It felt like the air itself was sighing with her. As if the lighthouse breathed along. She heard nothing sharp, only the distant murmur of waves, the soft chee of the night breeze, and Milo's low, steady purr. Luna glanced out the round window. The sea was calm. The waves moved like slow ribbons of satin, folding over each other and rolling back again. The sky had deepened into a velvety indigo, and the moon floated slightly larger than usual, as if it had come a little closer just to keep them company. A path of reflected moonlight stretched from the horizon all the way toward the shore, like a silvery, dreamy walkway painted across the surface of the water. It looked almost solid. Almost like you could step onto it and stroll along quietly, listening to the sound of the sea humming its lullaby. Luna's heart felt very still. Not empty, just peaceful. She stroked Milo's head with slow, gentle motions. His fur felt even softer than usual in the dream, like touching a cloud that had decided to curl up beside her. "Are we dreaming, Milo?" she asked softly. Milo blinked once, then twice, his purr deepening as if to say, "Yes, but it's the good kind of dream." The kind you don't have to wake up from quickly. Luna understood without needing words. In this dream lighthouse, time moved like a feather drifting on air, no hurry, no push, just gentle drifting. She walked slowly toward the center of the room, feeling the floor under her slippers, feeling the quiet weight of the air around her. The lanterns glowing on the walls seemed to lean in slightly, like old friends listening, happy to simply share the same silence. On the small round table near the window, something new had appeared. A tiny, glowing, star-shaped key. It wasn't bright or sharp. Its glow was soft, like a tiny firefly resting. Luna tilted her head slightly, curious but not excited. Excitement was for daytime. Nighttime was for gentle wondering. She picked up the key. It felt warm. Not hot, just pleasantly warm. Like it had been resting under a sunbeam that hadn't quite remembered to fade away. Milo hopped lightly onto the chair, and then onto the table, sitting beside her hands. His tail curled calmly around his paws as he peered at the key with sleepy interest. The star key blinked softly, its little edges rounded and cartoon-cute. It made no sound, but somehow Luna knew what it wanted. She turned her head toward the staircase that spiraled upward along the lighthouse wall. She knew where the stairs led, to the top of the lighthouse, where the lamp lived. She'd been there many times during the day. Yet tonight, the stairs looked just a little more magical. Bathed in a gentle wash of moonlight filtering in from above, Luna took a slow breath again, in and out. She was in no rush. Dreams were patient, so she moved slowly, one rounded wooden step at a time, her slippers brushing softly against the staircase. Milo hopped down from the table and trotted after her, his paws making no sound at all. The two of them climbed together, spiraling upward along the curved wall. With every step, Luna felt more and more at ease, as if each step gently smoothed out one last wrinkle of tension hiding somewhere in her body. She reached the top and found the small round door she always knew was there, the one that led to the lantern room. But now, the door had a tiny star-shaped keyhole. Glowing faintly, the star key in her hand pulsed gently. Like a heart beating calmly in deep sleep, Luna fit the key into the lock. There was no loud click, just a soft shee, like the sound of a page turning in a storybook. The door eased open on its own, and Luna and Milo stepped into a room that felt like the inside of a dream within a dream. The lantern room was round, of course. Everything here was round. The glass windows forming the wall were clear and curved, giving a full view of the night in every direction. The lamp in the center of the room hovered gently above the floor, not on a stand or a hook, but floating like a sleepy little sun. However, it wasn't bright. Its light didn't beam out in harsh rays. Instead, it glowed softly, pulsing like a slow heartbeat. With each gentle pulse, the light shimmered out through the glass in soft waves, spreading calm instead of warning. It didn't say, "Ships beware." It whispered, "Hearts, rest." Luna stood still and just tizzed. Looked. Milo sat beside her, his tail wrapped neatly around his paws. His eyes half closed. The light washed over them in waves. With every soft pulse, Luna felt another tiny layer of tension fade from her. Her chest loosened a little more. Her shoulders dropped just a touch. Her thoughts slowed further and further, as if each pulse reminded her, "You are safe." You are held. You are allowed to rest. She closed her eyes for a moment. Behind her eyelids, the light painted gentle colors, not bright, just a muted blend of pale gold, lavender, and soft blue, like a dream watercolor slowly swirling in a shallow bowl. Her breathing matched the rhythm of the lamp. Light expands. She breathes in. Light softens. She breathes out. In and out. In and out. Milo's purr matched the rhythm perfectly, like a quiet drum that the night could lean on. When Luna opened her eyes again, she noticed something remarkable and yet not frightening at all. Through the curved glass windows, the night had shifted. Where there had been just sea and sky before, there now lay a soft floating pathway of light, starting just outside the lighthouse and stretching out into the darkness like a gently glowing bridge. It looked like the reflection of the moon had risen up off the water and turned into a walkway, hovering just above the surface of the ocean. Its edges were round and softly blurred, no hard lines, just glowing curves. Luna knew, in that dreamy way, that she was being invited, not urged, not aired, not pushed, just gently invited. She placed a hand gently on the glass and felt no cold. Only a comforting, lukewarm touch, like a mug of tea that had cooled just enough to be sipped slowly. The door beside her, the small external door leading to the outer balcony, unlatched itself with a soft sigh. The night air seeped into the lantern room, cool and calm, without wind or sting. Luna looked down at Milo. "Would you like to walk the moon path with me?" she asked, her voice no louder than a hush. Milo blinked slowly, then padded gracefully toward the open door. His tail swayed like a lazy metronome, ticking out a very slow rhythm of comfort. They stepped outside together. The balcony wrapped gently around the lighthouse, curving comfortably. Beyond the railing, only a step away, the glowing path of light hovered, waiting. It didn't flicker or flash. It simply glowed steadily. Like a soft promise, Luna lifted one slippered foot and placed it gently on the glowing path. It held her weight easily, but not stiffly. It felt like walking on a thick cloud, made of warm moonlight, firm enough to support, soft enough to comfort. Her other foot followed. Milo stepped beside her, paws silent. Fur brushed by the gentle glow. They began to walk. The lighthouse receded slowly behind them, its round shape reflected faintly in the water below. Its lamp kept glowing, silently watching over them. But even as they moved away, there was no sense of leaving safety behind. Because the safety was not just in the lighthouse. It was in the world itself. In the night. In the slow pace of their steps. Each step they took forward along the moon path felt like slipping deeper into rest. Luna didn't know where they were going, but this was a dream. And in this dream, no startling surprises. Just slow, soft unfolding. As they walked, the sea on either side of the glowing path rippled gently, like a giant blanket being shaken out and then laid smooth. Small sparkles of light appeared in the water, like sleepy stars that had chosen to rest within the waves instead of the sky. The sky itself seemed lower, closer, as if it had come down just for their comfort. The clouds were soft, rounded shapes drifting lazily across the moon's face. Now and then, the moon would peek out, then tuck behind again, like a shy friend playing a very slow, very gentle game of hide, dash and dash seek. Luna felt no urgency to see. more, to go faster, to ask questions. Walking was enough. Step. Soft glow. Step. Soft glow. Her breathing stayed slow in and out. She noticed tiny details along the path as they moved. Here and there, small orbs of light hovered beside the bridge, like lanterns suspended in the air. Each orb was faint, just a little brighter than a firefly, with rounded edges that made them look cartoon cute, like small sleepy companions. They bobbed gently as Luna passed, not to distract, but to guide. Milo occasionally brushed his whiskers against one, and each time, the orb pulsed a tiny bit brighter, then settled again, as if giggling quietly to itself. After a while Luna couldn't tell how long, because time had become soft and unimportant. The moonpath brought them to a small island. It wasn't a real island, not the way maps describe them. This one looked like a floating, rounded cushion of land resting just above the water. Its edges tapered softly into the sea, and its surface was covered in plush, velvety grass that glowed faintly under the moonlight. Tiny flowers dotted the ground. They weren't bright or bold. Their petals were pastel blues, lilacs, and creamy whites. Others were the softest shade of pink, like the inside of a seashell. Each flower emitted a little bit of light, not enough to dazzle, just enough to gently color the air around it. In the center of this little dream, but not a tall, towering tree. It was small and rounded, with a wide low canopy and a thick trunk that looked sturdy but kind. Its bark was smooth and gently spiraled, like a swirl of caramel. Its leaves were shaped like stars, each one soft and plump, like tiny pillows dangling from delicate branches. The whole tree glowed with a quiet light, not shining, just glowing. Peacefully Luna stepped from the moonpath onto the grass. It yielded slightly under her slippers, then supported her weight like a cushioned mattress. Every step brought a soft, rustling sigh, like fabric being stroked. Milo trotted alongside her, his paws pressing tiny dimples into the glowing grass, which very gently puffed back up as he passed. They made their way toward the tree. As they arrived beneath its star-leafed branches, Luna felt an even deeper slowdown in her body. It was as though every tiny piece of tension that might have remained in her muscles finally remembered it didn't need to work anymore. Her shoulders felt loose. Her arms dangled comfortably. Her back relaxed completely. The air beneath the tree smelled faintly of warm vanilla and night-blooming flowers. There was a hint of sea salt, too, drifting in softly from the ocean. Above her head, the star leaves swayed very lightly, even though there was almost no wind. Each movement set off a cascade of gentle, tinkling sounds, like a distant lullaby played on glass chimes. The tree seemed to be humming, not in words, just in feeling. Luna sat down slowly under the tree, folding her legs under her. The grass felt like sitting on a pile of soft, supportive pillows. Milo circled once, twice, then curled up right beside her hip, pressing his warm little body against her side. She rested her hand on his back. His purr deepened, the chime-like hum of the tree wrapped around them like a musical blanket. Luna rested her head back against the trunk. It was comfortably warm and surprisingly soft, like leaning against a large pillow hidden inside wood. Her eyes grew heavier, not out of exhaustion, but because there was simply nothing left that needed seeing. She could feel the calm even with her eyes closed. She let them flutter shut, behind her eyelids. She saw colors again, the same muted shifting wash of pale golds, blues, and lavenders. They drifted slowly, like clouds moving across a quiet sky. Her breathing matched the hum of the tree, now in, and out in, and out. Milo's purr was a steady thread of comfort, woven through every breath. Under the tree's soft swaying branches, time loosened even more. Minutes, hours, they no longer meant anything. All that existed was this moment, stretched as gently as possible so it could be savored fully. Luna's thoughts thinned down to the simplest sensations. The warmth of Milo's body against her, the cool touch of the glowing grass near her fingers, the soothing pressure of the tree trunk behind her, the gentle rise and fall of her own chest, in, and out, the faint, distant murmur of waves, the soft chiming of star leaves above, the slow, happy heaviness in her limbs, everything layered together into one single feeling. Rest, pure, uncomplicated rest. She didn't think about tomorrow. She didn't review her day. She didn't wonder what would happen next. She simply existed, breathing, resting, drifting. The tree's star leaves continued to sway in slow motion. Every now and then, one leaf would detach, floating down gently, like a camea feather made of light. It would descend lazily through the air, spinning in the slowest spiral, and land on the grass beside Luna, where it turned into a soft, glowing petal that slowly melted into the ground. Each falling leaf seemed to carry away another thread of wakefulness from Luna's mind, another worry, another thought, another bit of leftover tension from the day. And the more the leaves drifted down, the quieter everything became inside her. She felt like she was sinking into the island, being held safely by the grass and the tree and the sky and the sea. Not sinking in a scary way, sinking in a hugged way, like lying deeper into a mattress as your muscles finally surrender to sleep. Her fingers had stopped fidgeting. Her breathing had settled fully into a slow, even rhythm. Her mind had entered that tender place right between awake and asleep, where images move slowly and everything feels soft and far away. Milo's purr became a distant vibration. The tree's hum became a faint cradle song. The waves' murmur blurred into background comfort. Luna didn't know if she had fully fallen asleep beneath the tree in her dream, or if she was hovering on that quiet edge. It didn't matter. She was resting. Fully, gently, deeply, wrapped in moonlight, wrapped in softness, wrapped in the kindness of a world that asked nothing of her except to simply be. And as she drifted there, under the star-leafed tree, on the little Lendive glowing island in the middle of the calm ocean, the lighthouse in the distance continued to shine with its soft, steady light, watching, guarding, not with sternness, but with love. With each slow breath Luna took, the lamp at the top of the lighthouse pulsed once. In, the lamp glowed a little more. Out, the lamp softened again. In, and out. A quiet, steady heartbeat of safety in the dark. And far away, but not really far at all, Luna's real body lay tucked under her sky-blue blanket, back inside the round bedroom of the lighthouse. Milo's real body was curled beside her bed. On his little cushion, they were both there, and both here. At the same time, safe in their beds, safe in their dream, safe in the gentle night, under a sky that always, always meant rest. the gentle day of soft little things, far away. On the glowing little dream island under the star-leafed tree, Luna rested in perfect stillness. Her breathing had become so peaceful that even the soft grass seemed to sway in time with it. Milo's warm, gentle weight leaned against her side like a tiny, air, purring cushion, and the humming lullaby from the tree wrapped around them in a quiet, silken blanket. Time, if it was passing at all, moved as slowly as a drifting cloud, and then, very gradually, like a lantern being turned up a tiny bit from the dimmest setting, a new light began to appear. It wasn't sharp. It wasn't sudden. It arrived carefully, kindly. A pale glow bloomed at the edge of the dream's sky, the deep blues softening into lilacs and pinks. The star leaves on the tree grew more translucent, glowing with a softer white instead of night gold. The waves around the island fell even quieter, as though tucking themselves into shallower, gentler breaths. Luna felt it before she saw it. A slight warmth on her cheeks. A softening of the dark behind her eyelids. The faintest sense of the world stretching in a long, comfortable yawn. She didn't want to open her eyes yet. And the lovely thing was, she didn't have to. She could hover here, in this drifting, in-between place. A little longer, but somewhere far away, and yet, also very, very close. Her real body turned slightly under the sky-blue blanket in the lighthouse bedroom. Her fingers curled and relaxed. Her toes stretched just a bit inside her soft socks. The mattress cradled her, in the same way the glowing grass did under the dream tree. The dream and the real morning were touching gently, like two clouds brushing edges. The star leaves overhead stirred one more time, their chiming lullaby slowly dissolving into a softer, quieter echo. Like a song remembered from childhood, Luna took a deeper breath in. The air beneath the tree smelled now less like night blossoms and more like something fresh. Something like the idea of morning, dewy, cool, lightly sweet. She exhaled. A soft sigh left her lips. Both in the dream and in her bed. Milo shifted too, his dream form uncurling a little, his paws stretching forward in a tiny cartoon yawn. Very slowly, Luna let her eyes flutter open. The island was still there, still gentle, but its glow had changed. No longer moonlit, it now shone with the hush of early dawn, pale rosy light, soft golden edges, a faint silver mist hovering gently around the ground. The little star tree's leaves were still luminous, but the colors had softened, like watercolor smudges. The chiming was nearly gone now, replaced by the quietest of hushes, as though the tree itself were whispering, "Sleep well. Remember me. But it's time to rise just a little." Luna smiled. "Thank you," she whispered, not to anyone in particular, yet to everything at once. Milo blinked up at her with lazy affection, his cartoon eyes warm and content. Nearby, the glowing path of moonlight they had walked upon was fading, transforming back into a simple, shimmering reflection across the sea. The dream island was gently, kindly untying itself from her awareness. Nothing pushed her away. Nothing vanished suddenly. It was more like stepping backward through a doorway of light, moving from dreaming to waking with the same smooth slowness as a wave rolling onto shore, and then sliding back again. Luna took another breath, in and out. And with that, the island, the tree, and the glowing path grew softer, then smaller, then further away. like a picture slowly dissolving into bright, gentle morning. Back in the round lighthouse bedroom, a pale ribbon of dawn light was sliding across the curved ceiling, soft and hazy. It painted the wall a very faint golden pink. Like a shy sunrise, quietly testing the edges of the world, Luna lay on her side. Beneath the sky blue blanket, her eyelashes trembled. Her breathing was still steady and slow. Milo's real body was curled in his little round bed beside hers, his paws tucked under his chin, his tail curled like a comma. Now and then, his whiskers twitched, as though he were finishing the last frames of a very cozy dream. Outside the lighthouse, the sea was calm. No dramatic waves crashed. No wind shouted. Instead, small rhythmic ripples moved toward the shore. Like the ocean itself was waking up very gently, very politely, not wanting to disturb anyone. The lighthouse lamp dimmed naturally as the sky brightened. Happy to rest after keeping watch all night, inside. One of Luna's eyes slowly peeked open. Everything looked soft. The air, the light, the edges of furniture. Even the shadows. She didn't move right away. She stayed under the blanket. Just feeling the warmth around her body, feeling the soft weight of the quilt across her legs, feeling the comforting, familiar texture of her pillow beneath her cheek. Her mind was quiet, not empty, but peaceful. The dream of the island and the starry was still fresh, like a faint, pleasant taste lingering after a sweet sip. She didn't cling to it or chase it. She simply let it sit there, gentle and glowing, in the back of her mind. She took a slow stretch under the covers. Her toes pointed and then relaxed. Her fingers spread and then softly curled again. Her spine arched slightly, then eased back. She breathed in and out, just once more, slowly, savoring how calm everything felt. "Good morning," she finally murmured in a voice that still sounded half asleep, half dream. She wasn't sure if she was speaking to herself, to Milo, or to the lighthouse. Maybe all three. Milo, as if he'd been waiting for the cue, let out a tiny cartoon merp sound and stretched too, extending his front legs long and his back legs in a little hop. Then he shook out his fur in a cloud-soft shimmy, blinked twice, and slowly padded closer to Luna's bed. He placed his front paws on the mattress and peered at her face. His eyes round and glossy with morning softness. Luna smiled and reached a hand out from under the blanket. Her fingers slipped into the familiar warmth of his fur. "Did you dream too?" she whispered. Milo nudged his head into her palm, purring quietly in reply. She didn't need words to know his answer. For a while, they didn't move much more than that. It was one of Luna's favorite parts of the day. The quiet in-between moment where night wasn't quite gone and day hadn't fully settled in. Everything felt gentle and slow. No tasks had started yet. No lists, no decisions, just soft breathing, warm blankets, and the simple comfort of being here. Luna rolled onto her back and stared up at the rounded ceiling. The light from the small round window slowly crawled lower, painting moving shapes as the sun lifted itself from the horizon. Her mind drifted lazily through pleasant thoughts. The memory of the starry, the feeling of the moon path under her slippers, the sound of leaves chiming softly. Each memory was like a soft feather brushing along her mind. Not to wake her further, but to make waking peaceful. At last she sat up slowly, pushing the blanket down just enough to swing her legs over the side of the bed. Her slippers were waiting there, already in their usual place, plump, gentle, and lined with warm softness inside. She slipped her feet in. Warmth hugged her toes. The world felt friendly. Milo hopped up onto the bed, and then onto her lap, turning once, before sitting down. Luna giggled softly, the tiniest bit of morning laughter sounding like a small silver bell. "Well," she said in a soft sing-song tone, "it looks like another slow day for us." Milo's purr agreed. Slow is perfect. Luna's morning had its own soft ritual, just as her evening did, but never rigid. Never rushed. She stood and stretched again, arms reaching gently toward the ceiling, fingers spreading, as if to greet the new day's light. Her back arched in a slow, easy curve. Then she let her arms drift down with a sigh so relaxed it almost sounded like a little breeze. Padding over to the small round bathroom, she turned on the tap at the sink. The water trickled out in a thin, gentle stream, like a quiet waterfall. She cupped her hands to catch the water, then splashed it lightly over her face. The coolness was refreshing but not shocking, more like the kiss of morning air through an open window. Tiny droplets slid down her cheeks and jaw, leaving trails of chilly tingles that woke up her skin in a pleasant way. She dabbed her face dry with a soft towel, its fibers fluffy and comforting. In the mirror, she saw her cartoon reflection, soft hair, a little mussed from sleep, eyes still heavy at the edges, but shining with the leftover glow of good dreams. "Not bad," she whispered to herself with a sleepy smile. "You look like someone who rested well." And she had. Her whole body knew it. She brushed her hair gently, the bristles of the brush moving easily through it. Each stroke was slow and intentional, almost meditative. The rhythmic motion, combined with the soft swish-swish sound, was oddly soothing, a simple, tender moment of self-care. Milo sauntered in and sat just inside the doorway, tail curled neatly around his paws, watching her with the calm curiosity of a sleepy guardian. When she finished, Luna padded back out into the main room of the lighthouse. If the night version of the room had been painted in deep blues and glowing golds, the morning version was now washed in pale, warm colors, soft peach sunshine on the wooden floor, a gentle glow over her rounded chairs and cushions, a faint sparkle on the small jars and teacups that lined her shelves. The ocean outside the large round window looked different too. No longer a dark reflective mirror, it was now a calm watercolor of blues and greens, brushed with threads of bright light where the sun touched the surface. The waves still moved slowly, rolling toward the shore in a steady, peaceful rhythm. The sound they made was like someone breathing in their sleep, repetitive, quiet, and endlessly soothing. Luna went to her little pastel blue stove and set a kettle of water to warm. This time, not for honey milk, but for a gentle morning tea, scented with vanilla and chamomile. The stove gave a soft tick, tick, as it warmed, a familiar sound that made the room feel cozy and lived in. As she waited, she walked over to the window seat and settled down onto the cushioned bench, tucking her legs up underneath her and resting her chin on her knees. Milo hopped up beside her, then curled into a fluffy ball, one paw covering his nose as if the brightness of the morning was an amusing inconvenience. Together, they watched the day unfold. A few soft clouds drifted lazily across the sky, Birds flew by in slow arcs, never flapping frantically, just gliding. Wheeling gently, then passing out of view. On the far-off horizon, a tiny cartoon boat moved at an unhurried pace, leaving a faint line of rippled white behind it. Everything remembers to be slow here, Luna thought with a swelling sense of gratitude. Even the waves. She listened to the water hitting the shore, in and out, in and out. Her breathing followed it again, without effort. When the kettle on the stove released a small, whispery hiss, she rose and padded back over to it. Still wrapped in her sweater's warmth, she dropped a tea bag into a round mug covered in tiny cloud drawings, then poured hot water over it. The tea released its scent almost immediately, a tender mixture of vanilla cream and chamomile flowers. With the faintest hint of honey, Luna inhaled it deeply, her shoulders loosened. Further. Her chest felt warm and open. Her thoughts stayed slow and kind. She carried the mug back to the window seat and sat again, blowing gently across the surface before taking a careful sip. Warmth pooled in her chest, not an excited warmth. A calm warmth, satisfied, content. Milo purred softly, as if he could smell the tea too, and approved. For a little while longer. Luna simply existed, there watching the waves, sipping her tea, feeling the sturdy roundness of the lighthouse around her like a safe embrace. She had small things she might do later. Straighten up a shelf, water a plant, maybe sit at her little desk and sketch the dream tree while it was still fresh in her mind. But none of those tasks felt urgent. They floated in her awareness like gentle bubbles, drifting up and down. If she did them, that would be nice. If she didn't, that would be fine too. The day did not demand anything of her. It simply offered its soft time, hour by hour. Like pages waiting to be turned, whenever she was ready. She patted Milo's head. "Do you know?" she said softly. "I think the best kind of days are the ones that feel like very long, very gentle mornings." Milo's purr rumbled in agreement. As the sun climbed a little higher, the light in the room grew brighter, but never harsh. It filtered through a thin gauzy curtain, spreading softly across the wooden floor, making the rug's fibers glow like tiny threads of sunshine. Luna finished her tea and placed the empty mug on the small round side table beside the window. She sat a moment longer, hands resting on her knees, breathing slowly, looking out at nothing in particular and everything at once. Just the sea, just the sky, just the lighthouse, just her, nothing missing, nothing too much. Her eyelids drifted heavier for a brief moment. It was funny. She thought how a good night's sleep and a calm morning could themselves make you feel even more ready to drift into another little nap if you wanted. She smiled to herself at the idea. Maybe later. For now. She slid off the window seat and stood again, stretching, in the same easy, unhurried way that her day had begun. Her body felt light and rested. Her mind felt smooth, like a pond without a single ripple. She looked at Milo, who had not moved from his curled position. "You," she said affectionately, "are a professional at this." Milo cracked one eye open, blinked, and then closed it again, as if to say, resting is serious work. Luna padded toward a small wooden table near the other side of the room, where her sketchbook lay. Its cover was simple, slightly worn at the corners from frequent use. A small cartoon moon sticker was placed crookedly near one edge, giving it a playful, homey look. She opened it to a fresh page and picked up a soft pencil from the little cup. Beside it, she didn't plan to create a masterpiece. She just wanted to capture the memory of her night, the glowing island, the star tree. The path of light. The lines she drew were gentle, rounded, never sharp. The little island appeared on the page as a soft mound, floating above the suggestion of water. She sketched the tree with its spiral trunk and drooping, star-shaped leaves. She didn't worry about precise detail, she only sketched the feeling, safe, soft, dreamy, as she moved the pencil across the page. Her breathing stayed slow and steady. Her thoughts didn't race or judge, they just flowed with the pencil's movements, each line anchoring her more fully in the calm she already felt. Eventually, she added a tiny version of herself, sitting beneath the tree, with Milo curled beside her. Both of them were drawn in simple curves, eyes closed, faces turned slightly upward as if listening to a sound just beyond the picture. When she was done, she set the pencil down and looked at the sketch. It made her chest feel warm and floaty. At the same time, she wasn't just remembering a dream, she was reminding herself that calm was something she could carry inside her, in her days and nights, in her breaths and pauses, in her lighthouse, in her sleepy little routines. She let her fingers rest on the page for a moment, then gently closed the book. Outside, a faint breeze picked up, rustling lightly around the lighthouse. It pushed a few tiny waves toward the shore in a slightly quicker pattern before calming again. Like the sea had sneezed very softly, and then gone back to resting. Luna walked over to the circular door and opened it, stepping out onto the small balcony that wrapped around the tower. Cool, fresh air kissed her cheeks. The scent of salt and seaweed and wet sand drifted upward, mixed with the faint aroma of morning warmth on stone. The sky was a brighter blue now, streaked with thin, wispy clouds. The sun, still soft and not yet at its highest, glowed with a tender warmth that gently brushed her hair and sweater. She placed both hands on the railing and just stood, listening, breathing, watching. Down below, small waves lapped at the rocks with rhythmic patience. Seabirds floated in slow arcs overhead. Somewhere in the distance, a bell chimed once, then fell silent again, a soft reminder that the world existed beyond her little lighthouse, but didn't demand anything from her right now. Her heart felt so at ease that for one moment, she thought she could simply stay like this forever. And the nicest thing was, there was no reason she couldn't return to this feeling any time. Morning, afternoon, night, the calm was always there. Waiting on the balcony, in her sketchbook, in her tea, in Milo's purr, in her own steady breath. After a while, Luna went back inside and closed the door softly behind her. She looked around at the round room, at the soft cushions, the little stove, the shelves, the lanterns, the rug, the window seat, Milo's cushion, all the small, gentle pieces of her life. None of them impressive. None of them grand. All of them precious. Her inner voice, as soft as ever, whispered, "Today, we will do everything slowly. We will keep this calm with us. We will remember that there is nothing we have to prove. Only moments we are allowed to enjoy." Milo strolled over to her, tail high, eyes half-lidded. She scooped him up carefully, cradling him like a fluffy, warm loaf. He settled into her arms with a satisfied sigh, his paws soft against her sweater. Luna carried him over to the window seat one more time and sat down. The day was fully awake now. But she didn't have to be busy. She could spend as long as she liked just like this, holding Milo, watching the waves. Breathing in. Breathing out. Letting the calm of the night stretch into the softness of the day. And though another night was still many hours away, Luna already knew that when it came, she would welcome it like an old friend. The lighthouse would glow again, the ocean would darken and slow. Her bed would be waiting, cool sheets ready to warm up around her, and when she closed her eyes, the dream path and the star tree and the little floating island would not be far, because once a place of calm finds its way into your heart, it never really leaves. It simply rests there, like Milo curled in her arms, now ready to purr when you remember to listen. The night comes home to the lighthouse, the day passed in its soft, unhurried way. In the little round lighthouse by the sea, time moved like a gentle tide. Luna spent the afternoon doing only the smallest, kindest things, tidying a shelf here, dusting a windowsill there, humming little tunes that came and went without words. Milo followed her around like a sleepy shadow, sometimes hopping onto a chair to watch her, sometimes curling up in a patch of sunlight on the floor, sometimes stretching himself out along the window seat like a long, fluffy comma. Nothing urgent happened. Nothing loud. It was a day made of quiet little moments. At one point, Luna watered a small potted plant that sat near the kitchen window. A tiny cartoon fern with rounded leaves that bounced slightly when droplets touched them. She wiped the table, rearranged her cups, and straightened the cushion on Milo's little bed. Later, she made herself a simple lunch, soft bread, a slice of cheese, a few pieces of fruit, and ate it slowly at the table by the window. Watching the bright sea and feeling the calm of the morning carried gently into the afternoon. When she finished, she washed the dishes in warm, soapy water. The bubbles were round and shiny, floating up and bursting quietly in the air, leaving behind faint little sparkles. The tiny sounds of dish and water and cloth blended into a soft, domestic lullaby. The hours slid by like clouds. At some point, the sun drifted lower, turning from pale gold to deeper orange. The shadows inside the lighthouse grew longer and softer. The colors outside changed, to the sky edging into shades of peach and rose, the water reflecting it all, like a giant, sleepy mirror. Milo, who had napped at least 3 times already, yawned hugely on the rug. Luna looked at him and smiled. "You're a professional at resting," she said again. He answered with a small, lazy purr, eyes half closed. As the afternoon leaned into evening, Luna stepped out onto the balcony once more. The air was cooler now, but not cold. It brushed against her cheeks, as if the day were patting her gently, saying, "Well done for being kind to yourself today." The sky was slowly turning into a painting again. Soft streaks of pink fading into lavender, then into blue. The sun dipped lower, touching the horizon, and then half disappearing behind it, leaving a trail of warm color that glowed and dimmed the ocean side. Its waves rolled a little slower now, as though they too were getting ready for bed. Luna rested her elbows lightly on the railing and breathed in the fresh air. She let it fill her lungs, then let it flow back out, slowly, in and out. She felt no rush to go anywhere, She felt no pull to do anything important. She simply watched the day quietly tuck itself in, when the last thin sliver of sun finally slipped below the horizon. The colors of the world shifted again. Blue deepened. Pink and gold faded into soft gray. One by one, the first few stars blinked awake in the sky. They did not arrive in a burst. They appeared gently. One tiny dot of light at a time, like shy little eyes opening slowly. Luna tilted her head back, her hair brushing the collar of her soft sweater. "Hello," she whispered to them. She always thought of stars as old friends, especially now. After dreaming under star-shaped leaves on the glowing island, the breeze hushed further, settling into the kind of quiet that cradles everything rather than empties it. She went back inside the lighthouse and closed the door behind her with a soft click. Evenings in the lighthouse had their own kind of magic. Luna lit the lanterns one by one. Small glass lamps placed in gentle clusters around the room. None of them were bright. Each one glowed with a warm, buttery light that made the round walls look extra cozy, like the inside of a candlelit seashell. The shadows softened into curves, no corners sharp, no darkness heavy. Milo trotted around after her, watching each lantern come to life as if checking that they were all doing their job properly in the kitchen area. Luna put a small pot on the stove once more, this time for her nighttime drink. She poured in milk and added a spoon of honey and a pinch of cinnamon. As the mixture warmed, the air in the lighthouse filled with sweet, comforting smells: honey, milk, cinnamon, soft, familiar, safe. She listened to the gentle shishi of the milk swirling as she stirred it slowly with a wooden spoon. Tiny curls of steam rose up, forming soft white ribbons that twisted and faded into the air. Milo hopped onto a nearby chair, settling his paws neatly together as he watched. When the honey milk was ready, Luna poured it into a wide pastel mug with tiny crescent moons painted along the rim. She held it in both hands, feeling the warmth seep into her fingers. She took one slow sip. The taste was perfect, mellow and sweet, gently spiced. Warmth spread through her chest, then out into her shoulders and arms, down into her belly, and into her legs, like soft golden light slowly filling her from the inside. She carried the mug over to the window seat and sat down, tucking her legs up again. Milo joined her, curling beside her hip, his fur brushing her sweater. Outside, the sea was now a deep, inky blue. The last colors of sunset had faded, leaving the sky full of stars. The moon had risen, a gentle crescent at first, then slowly rounding as if it, too, was stretching after rest. The lighthouse's lantern was awake again at the top of the tower, shining in its usual way, not a harsh beam, but a gentle halo that turned like a slow spinning circle of calm. Luna gazed out at it all. The night didn't feel big and overwhelming, it felt soft and close, like a giant blanket gently dropped over the world. She took another sip of her honey milk and rested her head against the cushion. Her breathing matched the rhythm of the waves again, in and out, in and out. Milo purred, a low, even vibration that hummed through the cushion and into her side. If the daytime was made of soft little things, then nighttime here was made of soft big things. The sky, the sea, the stars, the moon, the lighthouse, all large, but all gentle, strong, but quiet, present, but not demanding, after a while. When the mug was half empty and her eyelids were a little heavier, Luna set the cup down on the table and placed a hand over her heart. "Thank you," she whispered again, "to the day, to the night, to the lighthouse, to the sea, to the dreams that had held her, and the calm that still wrapped around her." She sat there for a bit longer, feeling her own heartbeat under her palm. It was steady and calm, like a small, friendly drum keeping time with the world. When she finally rose from the window seat, her body moved a little slower, as if she were already halfway into bed. Milo hopped down too, landing softly on the rug. Luna walked over to the tiny bathroom once more to prepare for sleep. She brushed her teeth with slow, circular movements, the minty foam cool and soothing. She splashed warm water over her face and neck, then patted dry with her soft towel. In the mirror, she saw the kind of tiredness that's not from worry, but from a day well lived, a safe tiredness, the kind that invites rest like a gentle hand guiding you to a chair. She turned off the bathroom lamp and stepped back into the bedroom. Her bed awaited her, exactly as she'd left it. Pillows plumped, sky blue blanket turned down, sheets smooth and inviting. The bedside lantern glowed softly, dimmer now. As if it knew it was almost time to sleep, Luna slipped out of her sweater and into her favorite sleep shirt, a loose, comfy, cartoonish top covered in little moon and star patterns. She smiled at the sight of it. It always made her feel like sleep was already hugging her. Milo circled his own little cushion, then settled down with a sigh so tiny it was almost silent. Luna pulled back the blanket and climbed into bed. That first contact, the cooliness of the sheet against her legs, the gentle give of the mattress beneath her, sent a wave of relief through her entire body. She lay on her back for a moment, arms by her sides, just breathing. In and out. She felt the day leave her muscles, like sand sliding off a smooth stone. Her forehead softened, her jaw unclenched, her shoulders melted deeper into the mattress. She turned onto her side, facing the curved wall of the lighthouse. The lantern light brushed soft gold across the wood, making it feel more like a snug little nest than a room. The lighthouse itself hummed quietly around her, not in a real sound, but in a feeling of being held, protected, at home. She reached down and let her hand dangle off the side of the bed. After a moment, Milo's warm forehead nudged against her fingers. She smiled and curled her hand into his fur. His purr deepened. The sound flowed up her arm, into her chest, and through her whole body like a slow, soothing wave. As Luna lay there, teetering on the edge between awake and asleep, she thought of the tree on the little dream island. She remembered the star leaves chiming softly above her, the glowing grass, the path of moonlight. She remembered how completely safe she had felt under its branches, with Milo pressed against her side, breathing and purring. The memory didn't make her want to go back there right away. It made her feel like she had never truly left. The calm of that place lived inside her now. As steady as her heartbeat, she closed her eyes. Behind her lids, colors appeared again, this time even softer than before. Pale golds, cool blues, soft lavenders. They swirled slowly in the darkness, not as sharp shapes, but as gentle clouds of color, drifting back and forth like smoke in water. Her breathing matched their movement. In, the colors expanded. Out, the colors softened and faded. In, and out. She could almost feel herself standing on the moon path again, slippers pressed into glowing light, the sea breathing slowly. Beside her, the thin line between imagination and dream blurred. She didn't try to control it. She just let it happen. Luna pictured herself walking slowly, not needing to know where she was going. Only knowing each step brought more rest. She imagined Milo padding along beside her, tail swaying lazily, eyes half closed, in her mind. The path led to the little island once more, the starleaf tree waiting for her beneath the night sky. But now, she didn't have to travel all the way there. The comfort of that place traveled to her instead. The rustling of the trees' leaves transformed into the sound of the wind gently touching the lighthouse walls. The chiming became Milo's purr. The glow of the grass became the softness of her blanket. The trunk of the tree became the steady mattress supporting her back. Everything was the same feeling, wearing different shapes, safe, soft, sleepy. The lantern beside her bed dimmed just a tiny bit more. As if bowing out, the room grew quieter. The waves outside continued their slow pattern, their gentle hush barely audible through the lighthouse walls, just enough to be there. Like a secret lullaby, only those resting inside could hear. Every breath Luna took carried her further into sleep. Every exhale let another layer of the day drift away. Her thoughts, once sentences, became small fragments. Then just images. Then just feelings, warmth, comfort, floating. The last bits of awareness curled up like Milo at her bedside. Then settled, then slept. Perhaps, somewhere in the space of dreams, Luna found herself once more under the star tree, or along the moon path, or gently drifting above the sea. Perhaps she simply floated in soft colors and warmth. It hardly mattered where the dream took place, because everywhere she went, the same truths followed. She was safe. She was cherished. She was allowed to rest. The lighthouse stood solid around her, a round guardian, glowing softly against the sky. The lamp at its top pulsed in slow, patient rhythm. Not a warning now. A heartbeat. In and out. In and out. The sea breathed with it. The sky breathed with it. Luna breathed with it. Milo's tiny chest rose and fell, and the whole gentle world seemed to whisper, in the quietest, kindest voice, "Sleep now. You've done enough. You are enough. Rest is yours. All is well." The night settled fully. The stars watched kindly. The lighthouse held its little world of calm, and Luna drifted deeper and deeper into soft, endless, peaceful sleep.